Today was a very, very busy day on the Hill, the fifth January 6th hearing, and we saw even more revelations of just how far former President Donald Trump was willing to go to stay in office. Front and center, how the former president attempted to strong-arm officials at his own Justice Department to overturn the 2020 election. The riveting testimony came from Trump's former acting attorney general, Jeff Rosen, his deputy, Richard Donoghue, and DOJ counsel, Stephen Engel.
How often did President Trump contact you or the department to push allegations of election fraud?
So between December 23rd and January 3rd, the president either called me or met with me virtually every day.
On December 13th, an organization called the Allied Security Group issued a report that alleged that the Dominion voting machines in that county had a 68% error rate. He was adamant that the report must be accurate, that it proved that the election was defective, that he in fact won the election, and the department should be using that report to basically tell the American people that the results were not trustworthy. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
The committee also exposed how a low-level DOJ guy, Jeffrey Clark, was instrumental in Trump's plan. Clark and another Trump loyalist were behind a draft letter to state officials down in Georgia, calling Joe Biden's win into question.
This letter claims that the U.S. Department of Justice's investigations have, quote, identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election in multiple states. The department recommends that the Georgia General Assembly should convene in special session, end quote, and consider approving a new slate of electors. And it indicates that a separate, quote, fake slate of electors supporting Donald Trump has already been transmitted to Washington, D.C.
Now, Clark wanted the acting attorney general and his deputy to sign that letter, and they said absolutely not. But he didn't need them to get to Trump. He had his own back channel, and that channel must have been strong. We also learned today that Trump wanted to make Clark the new attorney general.
Did the president tell you that he would remove you and Mr. Rosen because you weren't declaring there was election fraud?
Toward the end of the meeting, the president, again, was getting very agitated, and he said, people tell me I should just get rid of both of you. I should just remove you. Mr.
Clark had told us that the president had asked him to consider whether he would be willing to replace me, supposedly on a timetable by Monday, the 4th. And so I had told Mr. Clark I thought he was making a colossal error in judgment.
All of this came to a head in an explosive Oval Office meeting on January 3rd with Trump, the acting attorney general, Clark, and a bunch of other staffers. That was when Trump said he was ready to appoint Clark as attorney general.
The president turned to me and he said, well, one thing we know is you, Rosen, you aren't going to do anything. You don't even agree with the claims of election fraud. And this other guy at least might do something. And then I said, well, Mr. President, you're right that I'm not going to allow the Justice Department to do anything to try to overturn the election. That's true. But the reason for that is because that's what's consistent with the facts and the law, and that's what's required under the Constitution. So that's the right answer and a good thing for the country.
The president said, what do I have to lose? And it was actually a good opening because I said, Mr. President, you have a great deal to lose.
All anyone is going to think is that you went through 2 attorneys general in 2 weeks until you found the environmental guy to sign this thing. And so the story is not going to be that the Department of Justice has found massive corruption that would have changed the result of the election. It's going to be the disaster of Jeff Clark. And I think at that point, Pat Cipollone said, yeah, this is a murder-suicide pact, this letter.
And a lot has changed since then, especially for Mr. Clark. We found out today that federal agents searched Clark's suburban Virginia home early yesterday morning. And another bombshell from today's hearing, the committee revealed Republican lawmakers who allegedly sought presidential pardons. They were among the most outspoken supporters of his false claims of election fraud.
Are you aware of any members of Congress seeking pardons?
I guess Mr. Gates and Mr. Brooks, I know, both advocated for there to be a blanket pardon. Mr. Gates was personally pushing for a pardon, and he was doing so since early December.
You mentioned Mr. Gates, Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Biggs did. Mr. Gomer asked for one as well. Mr. Perry asked for a pardon too.
Congressman Biggs and Perry denied requesting pardons, but tonight Mo Brooks said he did talk to Trump about them. He's also open to testifying before the committee, but he insists on doing it in public.